Okay, and introduce yourself.
My name is Mark. I'm with KellyCo. Today we're learning the Xterra 705 basic usage and basic introduction. I would like everyone to start with an all-metal mode because you need to understand the sounds produced and the target ID identifying the target you're looking up. So to begin, I'd like for you to go ahead and turn it on. Turn your all-metal mode on because all-metal is what's going to help you identify these targets and better understand it so you're not going blindly discriminating your targets. After you hit all metal, you're going to go to the squiggly line here known as your automatic ground balance. This is going to be the simplest means of ground balancing without having the frustration of doing it manually yourself. Once you press those three, you are technically good to go from this point forward on finding all metal objects. So again, on, all metal, and make sure your automatic ground balance is on. You can identify it by looking at the big squiggly line up top. If your coin...
Those arrows?
No, just the squiggly line right here, if you look closely enough.
Okay, I see.
Now, for your use here in Florida, you're going to use coin mode, so make sure that the coin is selected at the top. Prospecting mode is not going to be conducive for you because you're going to be capturing too much and confusing yourself and the system. So start with coin, all metal, and automatic ground balance for the first 50 to 100 hours. As a demonstration to show why, here's a simple nail you'll commonly find anywhere. As you pass by, you're going to produce a low tone. This low tone is identifying to you that this is a garbage target that I don't want to dig up. Now, does that mean it's going to be accurate to 100% every time? No. Sometimes an object large enough can give you a low tone or a different tone whatsoever. So I still, again, recommend digging up all your targets for the first 50 to 100. But now that you're listening, you hear, and I pull out a nail, I'm going, okay, now I know that was a nail because it's a low tone. It also showed me here on the numeric system in the negatives, -6. Anything in the negatives is typically iron.
Okay.
Now, if we go over to the next step and the most frustrating of things to dig up, you guys will become very familiar with this. I strongly steer away a lot of my clients to not discriminate pull tabs because what they do not realize is that a pull tab has a very similar signature to that of a gold ring. So you pull out your pull tabs, guess what else you've gone ahead and cut yourself out of?
Gold rings. That's why we haven't found any gold rings.
That's why you're having issues with that. So, as you would hear, a pull tab, more of a mid-tone, and if you look at the notching here that flashes, that's showing you where a pull tab would be located. If I take that same gold ring, this is going to be the small gold ring, look at where that notching indicates, and look at the number it gives you. But notice there's a slight change in pitch now that I've added 99 pitches versus the 4 we were just working on. Notice it's a higher, here's your pull tab, and then here's a nickel. All three of those items, nickel, pull tab, and gold rings, have a very similar tone, at least within a mid-range on the indication. Notice though they all had a slightly different sound. Doesn't mean it's going to be accurate every time, because if this coin were laying, let's say, perfectly vertical in the sand, and you go by it, unless we catch metal in the kneecaps there. But sometimes even at an angle, hear that?
Yeah.
Because it's not capturing a full surface area. In a perfect world, we'd always hit a flat surface and get a clean sound. Now, the last example, I'm going to use a quarter because that's going to represent your silvers. And silver, you'll always find on the furthest right of your indication and the highest and cleanest of sounds. You ever hear this?
Yeah.
You dig this up as quickly as you can. Now, is that going to be the best and worthwhile? Again, sound can change based on the angle and the size of the object. So, where's the bank?
What's the other settings at the top? I missed it.
I put it in the box over there.
The one?
No, I mean at the very top.
What's that?
You were on all metal just now?
Yes, I'm in all metal right now.
Because you had said coin. That's what I was saying.
Oh, and make sure your coin mode is set with this button right here. Because you could jump from your coin mode to prospecting. And this is a demonstration I do for my prospectors and showing the power of the 705. Why? Because it's my baby and I love it. I love the system because it has the best power and the best price. So, a nickel is always going to read like, you know what, just use gold. Gold is going to read like gold. Not used to having gold typically. I always use a nickel, for example. But on coin mode, we're going to pick up this coin, or this gold ring at, what do you say, that's 7-8 inches, guys? 7-8 inches.
Yeah,
That's phenomenal for the system. Now, switch it over to that mode.
Switch it. What did you switch it over to what?
I went from coin to the prospecting pick.
Okay.
The same object that was picked up 7 to 8 inches now, if you listen to that little whirl, watch.
Oh yeah, I've heard that before. That little whine.
That means it's a very faint signal, so either something's deep enough. Look how high I'm holding this up.
Shouldn't the arrows on the side show a lot of
It can indicate depth, but again, not be accurate, because if, let's say you had something sitting in the ground for over 50, 60, 100, 200 years, it's oxidized, it's broken down, and started forming an aura. So now you actually might start getting a bigger readout than what it really is. It could be still a small coin, but because of the oxidation of the metal in the ground, now it's reading something up here a little bit, so it might not show as deep. It might show actually a little deep. It's just a confusing thing. So it does take time to learn these nuances of metal detecting. So your prospecting mode gets you the ability to hear this. Hear that subtle change? That's your threshold. I'm going to give you one final, more advanced lesson, just because I believe it's a 101 on most metal detectors. Threshold as low as audibly possible. Sensitivity as high as freaking possible. And I say freaking with most stress point ever. And I say possible because, quite frankly, this is your sensitivity, right? That's erratic sound. Your sensitivity is not going to allow you to work with that. So now you take it down one notch at a time. That's erratic sound. So I'm going to keep doing this. Notice it's getting a little more stable.
Do I have to do this each time I turn it on?
Typically, once you get it set to an area, now you want to always try to get your sensitivity as high as it'll allow.
Yeah.
If you kick it up a notch, like look, 20. 20 is almost safe. 21, still picking up too much. So I'm going to work on 20 because I'm in here. I got rebar down there. I got this guy walking around with metal. I got electricity up above us. There are a lot of things that can affect it.
So the environment will change the setting you want.
Well, you want to make sure you adjust it to the environment.
So I could be on land one time and need it at a different...
Sometimes the grounds will give. Inland on Florida, we only have sand and limestone. We have the lightest of conditions in mineralization. You can maximize your sensitivity in these type of conditions.
If I'm underneath power lines, is that going to affect it?
Could possibly affect it, but that's where you would step into something like this. So your sensitivity notch, sensitivity as high as it will go. This right here, see, it looks like the little sign they see at the medical thing. And you know, there's that little cross right through it. That is noise cancellation. You have somebody else with a system very similar to this. It's like walkie-talkies. If you want a walkie-talkie with me, you have to be on channel 5 and I have to be on channel 5, right? The opposite of this. These want to be the opposite of walkie-talkies. You want to work on channel 5, I have to work on channel 3. You can't have the same channel because they're going to start chattering and talking to each other. We don't want that.
So if I'm with somebody else with a metal detector...
Or you're working near an electric fence or power lines, you're catching chatter, and it's not the balance, it's just something you can't quite change the channel you're working on. You have up to 5 different channels. See? So you'll find the channels that's the quietest, and that's the one you're going to work on. This is advanced techniques now, so please just take this sparingly. The 2 important ones I want you to know about your menu is this one, the one that looks like mountains, and this one that looks like a little wheel or a sensor with a increasing bar, a gauge. That's your sensitivity, that's your threshold. Threshold, I need you to have this right here. Hear that hum? As low as audibly possible. So I'm going to start dropping that down to where I go. Right about there, because I can still hear it. So now, the sensitivity as high as it can means you're going deep now, right? And the threshold means that you're going to be able to hear the fainter signals, meaning something that's just a little too deep, just out of reach. You might get a, instead of a beep, you might just get a woo, woo, and that's it. A change in the threshold can indicate something there. Or if the object's small enough, all you might get is a woo, woo, and that's it. So, sensitivity as high as allowed, threshold as low as audibly possible. With headphones, even better, because headphones you can really take out the exterior sound and really listen to what's happening. Then this is the volume of your tone, and that's how many tones you'll produce, up to 99, or I don't know why you would ever want to reduce the amount of tones you can hear, but there you go. So that's a quick lesson through the menu, sensitivity, threshold, Press your crosshair button to get back into hunting. And after that, I would say this is your basic setup. Now from there, using it, there's other means of doing so that aren't very conductive in here. So I'll leave it to that.
To get into the saltwater mode.
Ah, beach mode. Beach hunting mode. Let me see if I remember. If I recall, I think I hold that button down. It's supposed to throw up a little umbrella. There it is. Okay. So what I did is that I turn that on. I hold that down. The little umbrella's going to pop on and off there. When the umbrella's on, that means you're ready to work in salt water. And the reason why you have to specifically set it so that it can work in salt water is because salt acts as a metal in its eyes. When you put it in wet sand, that's salt that's idle, it's not moving. You can get away with a manual ground balance. You can get it set, continue going. The moment you go into the water itself, now you have moving salt particles. That's a different chapter. Now we got particles that are continuously moving. So picture tiny pieces of little metal constantly moving around it.
You know, every time I went in the water with this, I kept thinking, oh, well, the waves are taking my diamond ring and sending it off someplace else, and I could never catch anything. So.
And all it is every time the water moves up, it's going to capture.
I was like hours out there.
Yep. So, and that's just a matter of basics. So I would definitely leave your beach hunting mode on, all metal. And now with your 1, 2, 3, or 4, that's something you choose. Now, yes, they have presets. Learn your system. Set it yourself.
Yeah,
Stay in all metal mode first, because that's going to yield the best hunts and finds for you.
Okay.
I got 2 different gold rings, so we'll check. This gold is a different carat weight. That's another thing too, they'll show.
Good.
This one will probably be a lower number. No, maybe higher. And then this one.
Yep.
Okay, you can
14
see.
and 24.
14 and
Yeah.
24.
But you see, otherwise, this one, was this a 14?
Yep.
And then they will be right back in the same thing with the nickels, 12.
Yep.
And where was the other guns? Full top.
There's a pull tab.
No, that's all right. No, we throw them away all the time, so.
Oh, there it is. It's right on the
Keep
corner.
finding them.
And that'll be probably about a 16.
Yeah.
See? And that's what it means, what I'm saying. Spend your 50 to 100 hours. That guy hit it and was reading off the target IDs. I can't even do that yet. Making me look bad.
No, yours is making me look good.
Oh, there you go.
Great, thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you so much
You
for
feel
the
a little more
instruction.
confident?
I appreciate it.
Always.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.